Hi, my name is Todd Bailey. I work for Pomerol Partners as a principal consultant in our data analytics and data architecture practice. Today, I would like to talk to you about Qlik data integration, specifically the replicate piece of Qlik data integration. We're going to go through an example of a very simple example on how to pull data from Salesforce.com into a Snowflake instance. So without further delay, let's jump into it. Okay, so here's our instance of QDI that we have installed in our local environment. So I'm just going to pull up Replicate, and I'm going to go to it took me here. I'm going to go back to the kind of the default screen. So the first screen you'll see when you go in is the screen that has any tasks that you have already set up. If you would like to define a new task, you can do it here. For our purposes, I have set up kind of a bare bones, like I said, Salesforce integration, Salesforce.com into Snowflake. So I'm going to open this example, which is one I've set up. And as you can see, there's two pieces to this. There is a starting point and an end point. Our starting point, or our source, is Salesforce.com. So what I'm going to do, now let me click on that and show you the information here. So what I did to set this up was just enter the basic information about our Salesforce instance. The location of it, the username, the password, and our security token. I haven't accessed this since this morning, so let's test it quickly. See if it works. It is connecting fine, so we're fine there. So as we move through here, you'll see these are the objects that I've already selected from Salesforce.com. Most of these are opportunity objects that I've selected to pull in. So for our purposes, though, I would like to basically change this up a bit and add a new table and remove one, or a new object and remove one, so you can see how it's done. So the way you do that is you go to your table selection, and you can see it's the same list here of the 6 objects. I'm not going to pull in opportunity contact role. I'm going to remove that. So I'm going to put that over here, and now we'll have only 5. Excuse me. Then I'm going to find another object just as an example that we can pull in. So if I type in opportunity here in this source table schema table section, this will serve as a wildcard unless I choose the exact table option. So I'm just going to use it as a wildcard. And I'm going to choose to pull in, let's see, which one don't we have? Let's pull in opportunity feed. I'm going to put that there. So now you see opportunity feed got added in alphabetical order as to our list of things that we're going to include. So I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to pop over to Snowflake and show you, well, actually what I'll do first is I'm going to show you the Pomerol Snowflake instance. So this was our source. Here's our target. So same process. You put in your connection information here. This is our Snowflake. This is the basically US East location for all Snowflake instances. Here's our information to log on. We're going to use the load warehouse, and we're also going to use the database name of Never Down Generators, which is the instance or the application that we're building. But just to show you, if you browse here, anything within that particular data warehouse, you could choose as a target. So here's just some of the other things that we have set up in here, just to show you as an example. But what we're going to use is Never Down Generator. So I'm going to push that back onto there. I'm going to test this connection before we actually run it. That was successful. So I'm going to close that. Now let's pop over to Snowflake and take a look at this instance. Let's see, where do I have that? There we go. So I'm going to refresh this. As you can see, this opportunity contact role is the one that we removed, that we're not going to pull over anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that out of our schema. So I'm not going to go into too much about Snowflake. We can do that maybe in a video in the future, but I'm just going to drop that particular item out of my schema. I'm also going to change our warehouse to the load warehouse, which is what we had specified on the other side. And again, I'm not going to get too much into what the different warehouses mean within Snowflake. We're just going to go with that. So now we are going to refresh, and we should see that table has now disappeared. We no longer have a contact role in here, so that's great. So I am now going to go back to our QDI instance and replicate. Now, underneath run, there are multiple options. The one that we're going to do is the reload target. It's the most simple one. Basically, truncates and reloads all the data into the tables you have specified. So there's other options here that are a little more advanced. There's a resume if you had a problem, an error, and you load it up to a certain point, you could resume. There's also some run options here that are more advanced, like just loading metadata. If you're doing CDC or you're doing just changes, you can also do that based on dates and times here, or are also positions in the data and an actual key inside the data. We're not going to cover that very much because this is a very simple example. Just wanted you to see that in case you ever have any interest in going into that. Let's just look here to see if there's anything interested. These are just some more. These are just basically all of the specifications that we've put forward for all these areas for error handling. These are mostly just the defaults. We haven't really done anything fancy here, but just so you'll know that that's there. All right, we're going to run this now. Once we run, we should see these 6 tables appear. Again, this will be the new one that we put in that is not there now. So I'm going to push the run. I'm going to choose the run option. I'm going to say reload target. And I'm going to say, yes, I am sure. And we'll get this diagram dashboard basically that shows you the progress of the tasks as they go. I think this is really cool the way they've done this. It's basically showing you, I'm loading 3 tables, 3 are queued, none are complete. You can go down here and you can see the ones that have been queued and their status. So it looks like it's about to finish up campaign and maybe opportunity competitor. Looks like it has finished those. Those fell off. It's finished 4. Now it's loading 2. You also can see the process you're loading from Salesforce.com down into Snowflake. Now we're down to just 1 table left. Total amount that's been done is 83%. That should pop up to 100 here in just a second. There it goes. So it took 34 seconds. We're 100% complete. We didn't have any errors, although we have an informational error. I'm going to open that and see what that is. I wasn't expecting that. So what this is basically telling us is there is a object type within Salesforce, the large object type, that is not supported in Snowflake. This is just an informational message. I'm assuming that what probably happened if I went and looked at the field that it's specifying, probably just converted it to some type of varchar, huge float, some kind of large varchar to load everything in. So it's not really an issue for us. So I'm just going to skip that. I'm going to close that. Okay, so all this is done on this side. So let's pop back over to Snowflake and take a look. Let's see here. All right, here's Snowflake. I'm going to refresh so that we can see what's there now. Now you see we have 6 tables instead of 5. And we have our new opportunity feed table with a row in it. And as you can see, the date, date and time is 12:56. That is the current date and time, or about a minute and a half ago from where I am sitting on East Coast time. So we've loaded all these objects into this replicate area. Now, what we can do from this point forward, as we'll get into in the future sessions, is we can take this data and we can transform this data. We can, augment this data. We can, add calculations and other fields, massage it in order for it to make it easier for us to report on. The replicate tool is purely, although there is a little functionality to change things as you pull them in, make changes. Its main function is to take data from a source and push it into a target. There's one thing else I wanted to show you in this, and that is if we go back here, I just want to show you, like, this is the source that we're using, but you could use other sources just so you'll see under manage endpoints. If you wanted to add a new endpoint, you would see that there are all types of different objects that can be used as endpoints. Let's just find it. Let's just say if we added a new one and you went here and you said type, under here it'll show you everything. So all of these items here can be data sources. So as you go through this, there's just tons and tons of these. In my experience with QDI, we have mainly used Salesforce and Snowflake. Snowflake as also a source, it could be a source, and that's the main two that I've used. But there's all, Mongo, MySQL, SQL Server. All of these can be used, just plain old ODBC, can be used as sources of data. So I'm going to cancel that. So that is the end of the presentation today. So anything, if you have any questions or any comments, I had put my information here at the beginning, and here it is again. So feel free to reach out to me. And in the future, we're going to put some more examples out there concerning how to use Compose, moving data into Compose, and then doing some very basic transformations of that data. So thank you very much.